Big things are happening. I'm here to help you see around the corner. In fact, I made a little movie for you. If you're in charge of a business, you're running an organization, you're leading a team, one of your jobs is to look ahead, read the signs, and make adjustments to lead your team safely into the future. And if you knew if something was on the horizon, if you knew something was on the horizon, then you would make adjustments. And so that's what I'm here for, to help you know what's going on. Some big news dropped about AI. It's called the Genesis mission. We're going to talk about it today. But first, I have a message from Captain Steve. All right. My technical team's telling me you couldn't hear it. So we're going to do a rewind. So let's do this. So I'm going to share the screen, but I got to share it individually. Is that how that works? Oh my gosh. Here we go. Chrome tab. Here we go. I think this is it. Look at the captain. He's on the ship. He's looking over the horizon.
All hands on deck. Secure the lines and brace yourselves.
Aye, Captain. Reefing the sails now.
I'm talking to you.
He's talking to you. I'm talking to you.
All hands on deck. Secure the lines and brace yourselves.
Aye, Captain. Reefing the sails now.
I'm talking to you.
He's talking to us. That's right. Got to pay attention to what's going on, and there are big signals that are happening. It's a big shift. All right, share the screen. All this technology. So, a big thing happened. The White House just opened decades of federal data to AI, and the headlines barely covered it. But every major technology wave eventually hits small businesses first. That means your business. This big thing that just happened called the Genesis mission, it's on the big deal meter. It's a 10 out of 10. And let me show you. What's happening is, you remember the Manhattan Project? I think there was a movie recently called Oppenheimer, and you can go and watch it. But it was a very significant time. It was during World War II, and the U.S. government, they marshaled together 130,000 people, and about $30 billion in today's dollars. And it's an era where they got the sharpest minds to crack the item in 3 years. And that was called the Manhattan Project. And something similar now is going on, and it's called the Genesis mission. And it's explicitly calling for all these great minds, all this major data set, and pulling it together and putting all this AI and agentic power in solving the top 10 problems of our immediate future. So imagine all this computing power, all of these experts, and all of these resources, and more important, the biggest data set in the world ever assembled, all the data set to solve problems such as health problems, or safety, or just amazing things that we've been waiting on. All this money that's been spent on cancer research is now about to be leapfrog, and you have all this great data to solve these issues. So whether it be biotech or fusion or quantum or semiconductors or manufacturing or energy. All these things are going on. And so, but what does this mean for you and your little business, right? You run a business, you've got things going on. You're being pulled in all these directions. And so what can you do? Well, first of all, your best skill is just done. You don't need to predict the future, but you need to notice the signals early enough to start acting. And you can start doing that today. And so you have, in the much that, in the same way that the government is mustering all of this, all these resources and data together to get insights and solve these problems that are coming, you can do a similar version of this with all the resources you have on hand. You have data in your organization. You have these models, much like Gemini. I'm using Gemini here. Gemini created that video. Okay, Gemini created this slide, and Gemini created this presentation, and I did it all this morning in just minutes. And I'm not a designer, but I took what was in my head. I took the resource I have, these models, and I gave it a vision, and it's helping bring my vision together to communicate to you. My job is to help you see around the corner. So here it is. Here's the resources I have now to help you see around the corner. And that's the same way you have these resources in your hands at this very moment. So imagine that you've got data of the last 90 days of your Google Calendar. And let's say that you want to get the signals from these meetings, these appointments, these schedules, implementations, installations, whatever. There are patterns and trends in that data that you can export, put it into your tool, and just go, how can I bring of all my customers right now, some of my best customers, they're asking me questions about things that are on top of mind that they're seeing. They're looking to me to help lead them through this. Well, if I have a handful of customers that are asking me this, then the rest of my customers are thinking it. Most likely, they just haven't asked me. And so I can take that indication, drop it into these models, and go, hey, how can I bring these, how can I send out information that would help my customers, my prospects who are thinking of this? But look, here's a way to start thinking about it correctly and start positioning yourself to excel, to have a competitive advantage. And so, for example, let's say you do plumbing. If a few customers have called you and they know that the weather's changing, and they know that oftentimes the first freeze, there's always pipes that break. So maybe they're thinking about them. Maybe they're going, hey, maybe your best ones are going, come out and check this so that I don't have to deal with another water loss. Well, that's great information to send out to the rest of your client list and go, look, here's what we can do. We can come out and do this. And then you're going to fill up your calendar. Imagine taking a year of your invoices and identify which of your customers pay fastest and complain the least, and then write them a warm note explaining a small price increase, and then positioning it as a thank you and rewarding them with some sort of holiday gift or appreciation. This is something that you can start to do. You're taking existing data, you're asking the LLMs or the large language models, ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini, and going, look, help me look through this data and see trends, and then how can I take advantage of it? How can I serve my clients better? How can I improve my income without needing to bring on new customers? You can think out of the box. You can think about items that are creative, that can be very impactful. So these are big wins for little input. The slow month alarm. Think about when you can take your QuickBooks and your Stripe data, take it back a year, and to just go look. Hey, when revenue started to sink by 15%, what early signs showed up 2 weeks earlier? Take your data and ask it to reveal patterns. Why? Well, this moves you from having a gut feeling to having like measurable patterns that affirm what you're thinking, but can move you from reacting to being proactive, right? So if you know these trends are happening, you know these little indicators are popping up, then you can have a plan in place to be proactive. One idea is like, all right, so let's say I have top three employees, and I go and I get their resumes, and I go and get their work history, and I go and I think about how they organize the day or how they approach it, and then I dump those in to my chat, and then I ask it, so help me design a persona, r- study these indicators, and then help me write a job description that would attract applicants who operate or think the same way as these valued employees. Well, then you can start being strategic instead of hopeful as far as hiring. You can ask it now, design me my job description, and then what other tools can I use to attract these particular candidates? You're going to ask it to go design me a motivation or a reward program for my existing employees to bring in folks who think this way. What you're doing is just asking the tool to help me be more clear, help me say it better, and then where should I take advantage of this? This one here, the customer love bomb. You can go through and look at past data and who canceled at what time, and then go, all right, so based on these indicators, if we look at our existing database of clients and where they are, what can I do to be proactive and design a re-engagement plan? This helps me start addressing retention. These are all wins that you can do right now. Most of our default solution is I need a new client. But what if you can just take the data you have right now and do a better job with your existing clients? These are just 5 ideas of how you can go through here, and I'm presenting them as inspiration because there's a version or 2 of these put together that you could take and immediately implement and get some wins right away. So super easy. Pick an idea, export some data files, and drop it into your tool, and then ask thoughtful questions, right? This is what's happening with the Genesis project. They're taking these data sets, large, giant data sets, dropping them into the most powerful AI platforms, and then start revealing data and patterns to address national challenges. How, for example, energy, all this AI coming on board, we're going to need not just double, but probably triple the amount of data. Well, often humans approach problems with a bias. And so taking these powerful AI platforms, putting these patterns in, we can get shortcuts and ideas. This is how Elon Musk approaches many of his challenges. And look what he does. We went from having NASA string us along for decades on never doing hardly anything in space to now we have rockets going back and forth, launching satellites almost daily and reusing existing ships. This is crazy. The way that we used to approach problems to the way that we can approach problems helps us have expectations we didn't even know we could expect. And so that's why this is a big deal. This Genesis mission that was just rolled out, if you were this captain on the ship and um, you were going to prepare your vehicle, your business to excel, then what would you do knowing this is coming? Imagine that every business, every government, every aspect of opportunities, the expectation is you're going to be AI centric. You're going to take advantage of these. You need to be comfortable and confident, but you can be getting some wins immediately. So that's why the Genesis mission is a national signal, and these small experiments that I just reviewed with you are the reps that you can start taking. It's going to set you up. It's going to set your team up for success. It's simple. It's easy. You can do it today. All right. If you're getting value from me fumbling around, figuring out how to share, hit a like, hit a subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors. One of the things you can do today is create a custom GPT, and that's what we do. We download your expertise, we get your strategy put into the custom instructions, and then we turn that into a tool that becomes your thinking partner, that becomes your team's thinking partner, and that extends the capabilities without needing to hire new people. So go to roionline.com/custom GPT. Schedule the time. Let's talk. Let's get going. We got some resources here for you. These are the link trees. You got your 2026 Business Planning Partner GPT. This is free. Go click on it. Put it in. Create your future-proof business. This is what we're talking about. We want you to see around the corners. Put your data in, future-proof it. And I'm Steve Brown. This is AI Made Simple Live. We'll see you next week.